When Jason Snow woke up in the middle of the night to hands grabbing him out of his bed, he'd thought he'd woken up into a nightmare. A black bag that made it nearly impossible to breathe had been stuffed over his head, the neck tied so tight that no fresh air could get in. And within seconds, he was breathing in his own hot carbon dioxide that made his face break out into a sweat. He'd tried to scream at them, to call for help, though he had no roommates who would hear him, and his neighbors on his floor were practically deaf. His captors didn't so much as talk to him, though he heard their muffled voices speaking to each other through his bag. Once he'd stopped panicking enough to calm down and pay attention, that is. It did nothing to help him figure out where they were taking him. They tossed him onto what he figured out was the hard floor of a van, and it rumbled with the engine as it drove off with him inside. Jesus Christ, he should have known coming here would be a bad idea. The town was too small, and someone within the local religious population had found out that the new clerk at the gas station was gay. If Jason was at all lucky, these people were just going to take him to a confessional or something and try to get him to renounce his perverted ways. If he was unlucky, which, as of late, he had been, they were going to lynch him. Then maybe say that a wolf had dragged him away. The locals did talk about the wolf cries at night. Said they were ferocious around these parts. Jesus Christ. Jason panicked and began to struggle in earnest once more, the bonds tying his hands, scraping at his wrists. But he didn't stop until someone hit him with something hard over the face, and instantly his body relaxed. He didn't come to again until the bag was ripped off, and the air felt like such a cold jolt to his skin that he had no choice to become fully aware. Like someone had doused him in cold water. He just nearly pissed himself at the grungy-looking scene before him. Hey, no one could ever accuse him of being brave. It looked like something out of a Saw movie. There was a hole in the ground, at least 15 feet deep, and definitely man-made. This wasn't something quickly dug up. It was layered in concrete. Jason couldn't tell how thick they were, but the metal rings, some of which had chains attached to them, looked anything but friendly. He didn't even want to concentrate too much on what those brown stains were. Yeah, they were definitely lynching him. He raised his hands. Look, guys, I don't know what this is, but it's no business of mine. Bring in the other one and put them in, said the gruff voice of someone cloaked to look like one of those evil Dementor creatures from Harry Potter. He spoke as though Jason hadn't said a word. Then more rough hands gripped him hard enough to bruise before throwing him over. Jason hadn't even had a chance to fight back. He landed awkwardly on his feet, collapsing onto his side as the pain exploded in his right ankle and sliced up his leg. He cried out, clutching at the spot, but the men who threw him over jumped down with all the grace that an intended move like that could give them, and then started pulling out chains from their black robes.